Hello, everybody. The best three-man weave in college basketball is out in these college basketball DFS streets on back-to-back nights. Just like BYU and Allen Fieldhouse, we're bringing our A game tonight. Recording live from somewhere. This is One and Done.
Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
It's time once again for everybody to come aboard that Green Screens Media train. Welcome to One and Done, your fast break of college basketball information, and we're powered by the greatest website in all the land. That's drroto.com. I am your humble host. My name is Jay Heinrich, and I happen to be the conductor of the aforementioned Green Screens Media train. Find me on X at Dr. William Cannon. Follow me and I will smash that follow back button. That is what I do. I will. It's true. It's damn true. You know what else is true? That I am here tonight with two of the absolute best in the business to do it, starting, as always, with El Capitan himself, the captain of the Green Screens Media ship. Follow him on X at MC Holland 34. The OG Money Mike, that is Mr. Mike Holland. Mike, what it do, baby?
Yo, I'm chasing this paper right now on this slate, so that's why I keep looking over. But yeah, man, I know Eric's over here sweating half a point from Dessous with 9 minutes to go, so we'll follow that reaction as it comes through live. But yeah, here we are back for another one. I mean, this is crunch time for us. These next 3 to 4 weeks is when we're just going to be on constantly. Conference tournament time is going to be nuts with these slates. So your boys got spring break off, so man, I'm ready to just rack up the bread here and yeah, let's make a run at this thing.
Just like the good old days, so Mike, getting down to Padre, are you?
Getting kidnapped the Padre, yeah, probably.
You know it's coming. Of course, this man is last in the intros, but you know damn well that he's first in your hearts. The Baron of Bread of Green Screens Media. You can find in those Twitter streets at FantasyNav. He is Eric the Blue, Mr. Eric Roma. What's happening?
Bang, bang with the efficiency. I thought we were going to be waiting like we're waiting for a bus on that Eric the Blue. Like I am also waiting on this Dylan Dessous sweat. Mike likes to say it's the lamest sweat that he's ever heard of, but I got a weird feeling about this one. We'll see how it goes. I'll update everyone to whether or not he gets that half point that I need.
He just missed a shot. 9 minutes to go.
Just missed his only remaining shot of the game, many are saying. So we will see how this one goes. That is, of course, the second leg of the two-legger that we gave out with our prize picks yesterday. So hopefully some of y'all got a little sweat out there with me. And many of the people that are prime candidates for that are all of our friends up in this comment section. Mama rocks, what it do to the three amigos. Ready to rock and roll tonight. We absolutely are. Got Ryan popping back in. What's good, Ryan? Happy to see you. Been driving the bread truck lately, heating it up.
Man.
Love to hear that.
First in the GPP. Congrats, Ryan.
Yeah, buddy. Smarty back again for another night. Love seeing you up here in the comment section, waiting for those vocals. You know, Jay's back. He's backstage. He's gargling salt water, right? He's doing his vocal warm ups. We got to make sure that his voice is ready for the big time. And then we got Mike Witzgall, Eric the Blue, like Eric the Dew. Is that?
Look at that.
That is.
Yeah,
Eric does have premier cabbage. That is for sure. There's no doubt about that. Appreciate everybody hopping in their wits. Good to see you, Marty, Ryan, Mama Rocks. Good to see everybody in there. Keep it coming. And if you are hanging out with us, make sure you hop in the live chat. And you also hit those like and subscribe buttons. What are we, like 3 or 4 away from 800? We're right there.
So close.
You could be the person to put us at 800. Do your part in the Green Screens Media universe and hit those buttons for us. Get in the live chat. Keep it rolling. A 10-gamer tonight. There were a couple of games that we thought might be on this slate that didn't end up being on it. We made that adjustment on the fly to bring you this 10-game show tonight. We got the pull-up jumper, 3K to first tomorrow. Not too shabby. And then, of course, where Mike, all that money that Mike won in Las Vegas is going to go into the $60 King of the Bracket seat tomorrow as well. So hey, why not? What better place to do it, and what better place to bring up in the old live chat to bring up how mad Kansas fans are right now. They're probably a little pissed, Ryan. I'm going to have to agree with you there. But hey, like I told the guys
Blame their free throw shooting.
Like I told the guys in the chat before the show, like BYU had never won at Allen Fieldhouse before we interviewed Mark Pope. I mean, it hadn't
weird.
happened. It hadn't happened.
We call that correlation.
You know? I mean, it's
Producing
definitely
winners on this
probably, you know, that's what happens, coaches. So if you're hanging out with the one and done crew, it's, you know, good things are going to happen. Thanks for hopping in there, Ryan. Let's get to this overview. How about some thoughts first from the old Baron of Bread? Eric, go ahead.
Hey, tell me if you heard this one before. Like, I don't know, last night after what looks to be a pretty ugly scoring night on tonight's slate, we are back and hitting the replay button on another slate that you can kind of do whatever you want in terms of your roster construction, right? So like plenty of pretty solid value options on the board, some guys that are a little bit too cheap, and not a ton of, you know, huge high salary kind of top tier you know, spend up options out there. So plenty of ways that you can slice this one up. It's always scary that St. John's is on the board, especially when the St. John's and Butler game might just be the best one to target, right? Like a lot of different ways that one can go. The other three big totals on the board of the 10 gamer, they're all looking at double-digit spreads. So we have to navigate those blowout waters on the other games. So that's kind of the first look for me. Mike, anything else that's catching your eye before we dive in?
Love the mid tier. So yeah, love that you can do anything. I know we said 300 plus was going to win, but that wasn't going to happen tonight because we had some weird scores. Even though I'm like all flames, but barely getting over 200. It's weird tonight. But I expect a pretty high scoring night for tomorrow's slate, or today if you're watching in the morning. So I think one thing that's really, really interesting, I mean, obviously we always look for injury news. Something pops up, gets a 3 or 4K guy that's out there, opens up everything. We kind of already have some plays that we can go to for value, 5K and under. There's like 3 or 4 guys we feel pretty comfortable about. Nick Timberlake, I tweeted that he broke his back today and then miraculously came back out and went for it at 4+X. So just a little tweet out there. I had to go delete it so I don't look like a fool. But Filipowski's news, I think, is pretty interesting. After Eric's call that he ran over that fan or whatever, we'll see if he actually plays. I don't know that he needs to play. I think he's going to sit against Louisville. They're 22-point favorites. If he sits, I would still imagine they're 20-point favorites, or maybe it's already baked in and they were 24, 25-point favorites before the news opened up.
Disrespect. Kyle Filipowski is a 2-point line mover.
Yeah, against Louisville, absolutely. So I think if the Duke blowout happens here, if he sits and then you get all these fantasy points from the Duke side, I think all of their guys become super, super interesting. We'll talk about guys like Caleb Foster, Sean Stewart off the bench, maybe even TJ Power, a few other guys. So yeah, just loving this slate coming up, and yeah, I'm still trying to win this one tonight. So let's rock and roll, boys.
First of all, before we get to the live chat, listen, I've been on the rushing end of rushing the court. Okay, Big Monday. I've told that story here before.
Dang! Did anyone trip you?
Nobody tripped me.
Were you arrested?
And nobody got hurt. Nobody was arrested. There's a way to do it, college basketball fans, okay? There's a way to rush the court without doing stupid things. Get on the court, have fun with your team, but take it easy, fellas and ladies. Like, because the next step is for them to take it away, and I don't want them to completely take it away. I love seeing it. Mike and I were at the Kansas game in Austin, the last season in the Irwin Center a couple of years ago, and we saw them storm, and we were there when everybody stormed the court. It was great. It was a great scene. You just gotta have decorum, okay? Is that tough? Yes, it is tough, because when I was that age rushing the court, I might have had a couple pops in me. So I get it, but anyways, there we go. All right, Filipowski news. Got to watch that. All right, let's hit the live chat before we hop into the showcase. We got the green check from Witz on Dessous, y'all.
Yeah, he made a free throw. Imagine that. There's 8 minutes left to go in the game.
That's it. He's barely.
I think it was technically a stat correction. He hasn't played the second half.
Stat correction. Never rushed the court. Myron saying he never rushed the court, but he's rushed the field players. Good. Well said, Myron. That's good stuff right there. Appreciate you backing me up on that. And that's how there's a way to handle your business. Everybody's chatting in the live chat. That's what the chat is live. The live chat is live. So keep it going. Hit the like and subscribe. I did see that we got another subscriber since the show started. We're at 797 now. Appreciate that.
Lego.
And you haven't dropped a line in the live chat, let us know it was you. We'd love to hear from you. And as you do that, if you're hanging out with us for the first time, make sure you show us some love in the live chat and by hitting those buttons. Let's hit the showcase. Speaking of hitting things, let's hit the showcase here. 3-game showcase tonight in this 10-game slate. Some decent totals here. We're going to start off with a couple of teams that we don't really get to talk about a lot because they're not on the West Coast. We don't get a lot of those Pac-12 games necessarily on the main slates, but we're going to go Cal, 11-point dogs on the road at Colorado, going to Boulder, a 152-point total here. Cal has not exactly had the banner year that I assumed that they would have. They're playing okay for their coach right now, obviously, but this is a team that is still trying to figure it out a little bit here. Colorado, these are a couple teams that like to get up and down a little bit, so we'll see some points scored. The first matchup, Cal won at home. It was a home game, so Cal snuck one out there by 4. 82-78. So both teams, the game got to 160 there, obviously, which is the type of game that I think Cal wants to play again if they're going to be in this one. Tyson had 35-2 for Cal, and Lampkin had 22-11-3, and then De Silva had 26-2. Lampkin and De Silva, obviously, for the Buffaloes. Let's start with Cal, though. Let's start with the Golden Bears, Mike. The 5 starters all playing 30-plus minutes. That's what you like to see here. What about this matchup against Colorado?
Yeah, that makes it pretty easy for us because then it's like, okay, there's 5 guys. Let's figure out which one we want to play. I don't know that we want to play any more than one of these guys, but I think definitely if we get up to this 160, and it's 152, one of the biggest totals that's out there, obviously traveling. So potential blowout, but even in blowouts, like Cal's just playing their guys. Like it just is what it is. Mattson saying, hey, these are my 5 guys. This is who I'm rolling with, and this is the way it is. So Colorado's 6th in the Pac-12. They're in the middle of the Pac-12 in defensive efficiency. They're 8th in opposing 2-point percentage, so kind of getting beat up a little bit inside. That's what happens when you have Lampkin in the middle. It's kind of fleet-footed. You can also pull him out on pick and rolls and kind of expose that. And they're also 9th in opponent shot block rate and 10th in opponent steal rate. So a lot of stock opportunities for this Cal side, even though they're not really a team that racks up a lot of stocks. A little bit of a boost there for these guys. First, you got to look at Jalen Tyson. He's 8,600. I mean, the guy's just he's an upside guy, right? Like 40 to 50 fantasy points. I mean, just massive usage, great rebounding rate at 23% combined, 22% assist rate, shooting 36% from 3. Can sometimes get pulled out of the rotation every now and again when he does kind of just random stuff and turns the ball over. And, but for the most part, I mean, he's going to be locked into these 35 minutes. So you definitely don't mind that. And his price never really ever creeps over the 9K mark. So if he's going to score 40 plus fantasy points, you're absolutely getting your 4+ X there for Jalen Tyson. So probably my favorite play, price adjusted, even though he's the most expensive guy. You could save $100 and go to Fardaws AMAC at 8,500. He's a guy that can play inside and out. Hasn't shot as many threes as I thought he would this year. Only 45 attempts, shooting 33% from out there. So doing a lot of his damage inside. Now Tyson obviously had the massive game earlier this year. Where he had 30 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. But I could see a similar path where maybe people chase after Tyson, and AMAC is just unowned at 8,500, and a guy that has a 40% combined rebounding rate that also has 40+ fantasy point upside. So Fardaws AMAC at 8,500. Also on the board here as far as a large field pay-up option for sure. The rest of the squad, I'm willing to take a shot on maybe not Jalen Cone. I mean, he's 5,300, but also Jalen Celestine is priced at 5,300. So with Cone, it's like super shot dependent. With Celestine, it's more of like, you're not going to get a ton of shots, but he's a little more efficient. You're going to get a little bit of rebounding. He's on the court forever. Just a more efficient play. Now, Cone has the higher tournament upside because he shot almost 250 3-pointers this year. Transferred in for Northern Arizona. We really liked this team as a 3-point shooting team. This team has not shot great from 3 this year. We thought this was going to be one of the better 3-point shooting teams in the league. This is why they haven't hit their ceiling this year, partly because Jalen Cone's shooting 33% on 243 attempts. So both priced the same. I think I lean towards Celestine, but really the prices, like, I would rather these guys be 4,600 than 5,300 because it kind of bakes the upside out of it. So I guess for me, I'm really just kind of sticking with Tyson up at the top, and then going to pivot on some tournaments to Fardaws Amac. I will not play these guys together. So that's how I'm doing it, Eric. How are you doing it on this side? You picking Tyson or Amac, and then who's the 5th starter? It's Kennedy, right? What are you doing with Kennedy?
Yeah, I'm doing it a pretty similar way. The 5th starter is Keontae Kennedy, and he's just kind of in this like weird no man's land at 6K flat. Like, don't really love the pricing as it is, but also in the context of this team, like he's kind of the forgotten play here. Like, most people are going to be going up to Tyson or Amac or looking to save some money with Cone or Celestine, and there's Kennedy, right? Like, the thing that you like about him, we've talked about it already. Who's going to play all the minutes, right? Keontae Kennedy's out here working on his fitness, all cardio team, getting mid 30s minutes every single night. I don't think that you really need to get cute here, right? Like, Tyson and Amac are clearly the priority on this team. If you're trying to pivot, if you're trying to save a little bit of money, you can go down to either of Cone or Celestine, and both of them, like, they've got just as much upside as Kennedy does on any given night. So to get here at 6K, it feels like you're doing a bit too much. So, I mean, he's pretty close to just being crossed off for me.
How many teams is the Pac-12 getting in?
3.
3, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
4 if someone steals.
I mean, if Cal, yeah, USC's going to win the Pac-12 tournament, so they get 3 in.
Oh my gosh.
Or UCLA, dude, they're actually playing better than most teams in the league right now,
Right.
both of them.
I mean,
So.
like, Cal's won 3 in a row, and their schedule, the remaining, I mean, they got Colorado here in front of them, obviously the game we're talking about, and then a couple of teams below them in the standings. Like, it's not unreasonable to think that Cal could go on a little run here, and depending on what Oregon does the rest of the way, who knows?
Yeah, well, the Pac-12 is like that.
Yeah.
Who knows? Kind of,
Yeah,
we thought it was USC and UCLA
Yeah,
this year.
It was not. Marty's here for the all comma plays, not the all coma. That's what we're trying to bring you here on this fine evening. And you didn't think that we were actually going to get through Cal without me doing the Mark Matson dance, did you?
It is.
Nope. We didn't get through. They're not going to get to 20
Wavy
wins
with
like I
it.
thought. Like, I was really pushing for this team to overachieve. And honestly, they're above 500 in the conference right now. They're doing just fine under first-year head coach Mark Matson. Colorado starters played big minutes, Mike, but a few more bench minutes played on this side.
Yeah, I mean, California has actually been 5th in defensive efficiency in the Pac-12, so I thought this was going to be more of an offensive team, but they've actually been better on the defensive end, surprisingly. Getting a little beat up inside, and they're 7th in the Pac-12 in opposing 2-point percentage, so there's nothing really that like screams out like matchup advantage here, other than Colorado is a great 3-point shooting team and likes to get up and down a little bit. KJ Simpson's there at 9K. I mean, what can you say about the guy? Like, he is one of the better cash plays on the slate, obviously at 9K. Any of these guys that are up at the 9K level, they're typically like good for cash because they're racking up so many fantasy points that they are this price point. So at 9K, though, I think he gives you some tournament upside because I think he has 45 to 50 in this spot here. Now, obviously, the two bigs, De Silva and Lampkin, kind of dominated this game last time for them. So that is, that is where I'm going to look at in some places because the price tags on these guys are so much cheaper. Mama Rocks is saying that I need talking off of De Silva. I never get him right. Well, I mean, it's kind of tough when, the guy's basically the number 2 option here, coming off a 20 point, 6 rebound, 2 assist effort in the first matchup, 7,400, a guy that can go out and get 35 to 40, high shot rate, contributes to, with rebounding and assists, a great 3-point shooter, 37% on the year. It's tough to get off of him. I would say, don't play him in cash at 7,400. I would obviously much rather play him in tournament fields. So it's annoying that it's really hard to stack Simpson and De Silva together because the rest of these guys kind of get in the way a little bit. But for me, it's really looking up at the top. I do like some of the bottom tier options. Eddie Lampkin's sort of interesting. Like he kind of gets run off the floor sometimes, but he had that big game against them last time. And, for a guy that can get a double-double at 5,700, there's not too many guys out there that are like that. So he's somewhat interesting. Yeah, Smarty, you saying Lampkin smashed, hasn't broke 30 DK points since. I mean, I'm not going to – you're saying, don't chase that. When we talk about the matchups, I'm actually more in love with Simpson in this matchup. He played terrible in that first spot. We were talking about Owen Freeman not doing anything against Penn State the first time. Well, he smashed them tonight. So, yeah, just because they did it last time or didn't do it doesn't mean you can't go to them or get off of them. So, yeah, Eddie Lampkin, I mean, he's okay for tournaments. There's 1,000 teams, so I don't mind him as a stacking partner with KJ Simpson. That's the only way I would play him. I do have some interest in Luke O'Brien. He's sitting here at 4,400. An interesting value play here. I mean, 18 and 18 in the last couple here. It shoots well from three, can really stretch the floor 40%, carries a 2% block and steal rate, a 20% combined rebounding rate. So, he's got to make his threes. He's got to make his shots. He's got to play mid-20s minutes. But at 4,400 in a game that basically damn near scored 160 points out last time, and, a guy that's shown in the last two games that they're willing to play him bigger minutes, you get into these pace-up spots here, and I'll take 17.5, 18 from this guy to go along with a De Silva bomb at 40 or a Simpson bomb at 45, 50. And now I'm feeling really good about my first two plays in the pool. So those are the guys I'm looking at. Eric, who are you looking at in this spot here as Dylan Dessou makes another layup with 2 minutes to go?
Man, what a sweat. I'm still recovering from that sweat. So my apologies if my judgment is a little unclear. A couple of guys that we haven't talked about yet. Javon Hadley, looking through his game logs here, kind of a roller coaster ride, right? 38, 32, 16, and a 20, and then a 40. So you're definitely, you're spinning the wheel a little bit. A lot of it has to do with his rates. 16% usage and 15% shot rate are not things that you typically associate with a 6.8K player. So very clearly he is getting it done with a ton of peripherals and just a pile of minutes, right? Like high 30 minutes every single night. His 20% rebound rate is fantastic for a guard. You like the 12% assist rate. He's been pretty efficient in terms of scoring in those games where he's popping off. But I mean, at this price tag, all of those things have to happen for him to be able to pay off a nearly 7K price tag. He's intriguing for tourneys because the upside's there, right? All of these things have been going right for him here lately. So you can't entirely rule out one of these ceiling games. Has him in the tournament pool. Cody Williams, the other guy that we haven't talked about here, save a little bit of money, about $1,000, go down to 5.8K. I mean, he's even more of a head scratcher than Hadley, right? You look at this recent stretch for Hadley. Hadley's really putting up the stats that everyone kind of thought Williams would be, and now he's in this kind of weird tweener range where you can really only consider Cody Williams in a super large field tournament. I mean, he's got some decent floor. I don't really see the upside that I'm looking for. For me, I really like kind of that polarized approach with the Colorado side, going up to the top of the price range for these guys, or maybe going down and trying to save a little bit of money with Luke O'Brien. And because of that, neither of these guys are going to be particularly popular. I guess I would lean towards Hadley of the two, but I don't really feel great about it.
Myron asking if we remember when Colorado was some folks' dark horse pick to make the
a
Final
month
Four.
ago.
Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think most people had the Final Four from last year, though.
That's true. You mean you didn't have
You did
FAU?
bring those receipts, right?
I didn't have FAU or San Diego State in the Final Four now.
I don't know. I mean,
weird, right?
Did you have your championship pick lose their first round? Do you know anybody that did that?
Lost on a free throw. Should have made the Final Four.
Marty's all in on Lampkin tomorrow in GPP, first or last, and Sanford win 3-2 tonight. Yep. And then, Ryan getting in saying he finally faded Lawrence.
Hey, he did it.
He had a decent game though, so I think he went 4x. So there you go. So whatever, Ryan, tell me who you're fading tomorrow, and I'm playing.
Let's do it. That's why we're here. Let's keep it going. Keep that live chat rolling. Drop those fire emojis in there. Our guy Nape C hustles off doing his other gimmick tonight, so make sure you drop. He's not here to drop the flame emojis in there, so. Make sure you
Ryan finally clicked on Mekhi Mitchell, and that was absolutely was not a good play.
This is no movie. There's no
Arkansas. What do you want?
Yeah, it's tough. It's hard. I just might avoid them altogether. Cross them off then. Do not cross off the Providence and Marquette game. However, a 143-point total here. Marquette likes to get up and down a little bit. Pace up here for the Friars. They beat Marquette last time, 72-57 earlier in the year, back when they had Bryce Hopkins still. Carter went for 22, 8 and 4 for Providence, and Oduro had 10 and 9, only 26 minutes. The most electrifying man in college basketball and in entertainment, Tyler Kolek, had 21, 9 and 5 for Marquette in the first matchup. But let's start with Providence, Mike. Not a ton of close games lately. This 9-point spread kind of tells a little bit of that story, but not too many close games lately, but usually there's like 7 guys that we can depend on seeing minutes.
Yeah, that one's a little tough. I mean, it's on our showcase because both of these teams, we're going to see 13, 14 guys at the floor, but really it's going to be 5 guys that play all the minutes, essentially. 10, 5 guys on each side that play all the minutes. Marquette's first in defensive efficiency in the Big East, so you don't love that. But you get in the pace-up spot. You have the short rotation for Providence. Marquette is 329th in opponent assist rate. So obviously playing that type of defense that they do, susceptible to getting some easy layups and also some easy threes, even though they're one of the better defensive teams because of the pressure they apply. Sometimes they give up some easy ones. So Devin Carter had 9,500. I don't know what else to say. Like, at this point, he should be 10K. Coming off the 55, the 60, he has 64 against Creighton. Like, it's out of control at this point. His usage is crazy. His shot rate's crazy. I saw today that he is projected to be the 10th pick of the draft by CBS. Also, Cody Williams projected to be 6th, and Dalton Connect was 15th. So I was like, man, I don't know. I'm picking Connect like with the 7th pick or something. Like, I'm not letting that guy go. But anyway, I digress. Devin Carter is the cover boy because we love him forever and ever for sure. So just massive rates, 23% assist rate, 3% block rate, 3% steal rate, a 40% three-point shot here. So, yeah, Devin Carter, play him. Like, I don't have to – this isn't – him and Oduro, you don't have to be talked into playing these guys. Oduro's price is a little annoying because now it's, basically 9K as well. But still, another guy with 40 to 50 fantasy point upside. Like, we used to target – Marquette over the last couple of years, and even some this year, just bigs against them because we were able to, rack up those fantasy points. Iguodala obviously played a little bit better defensively this year, and they're not quite as susceptible on the inside. But Oduro's in line here. Like you said, Jay, he had almost a double-double in 26 minutes. That was with Bryce Hopkins in, so that massive. He's going to get that usage bump that he didn't have last time, and he's going to play 35 to 36 minutes. Like, you have to think that at that price, he's just got a floor of about 30 fantasy points here with some upside in tournaments. The rest of the squad, it's pretty ugly as we go through every single time. We got ticket gains at 5,800. As Jay would say, cross him off. I can't play this guy with a 13% usage rate at 5,800. That is kind of crazy. Corey Floyd at 4,500. He needs to be 3,500 for me to play this guy. Like, he's shooting 22% from 3. He doesn't do anything else. His usage rate, shot rate are not there. Everything is going through Carter and Oduro. Rich Barron's there at 3,800. Played him a few times when we didn't have any value on the slates, and he got us a 14 a few times. So another guy that's sub 15% usage rate, but he's shooting 41% from 3. That's why he's in the starting lineup, to kind of stretch the floor and get these guys off of Carter and Oduro. So, yeah, I don't know that I want to play roulette with these guys. I would rather just, take the safer value like a Luke O'Brien and some of these other guys that we're going to mention later on in the show. So there's also Jaden Pierre, Eric, who I have been absolutely burned by because he's the third option on this team. And every time I click his name, he doesn't do anything. So what do we do with Jaden Pierre?
Oh, man, I miss the days where we were getting Jaden Pierre for like the high 4Ks. Now he's all the way up here at 6.1K. I mean, you mentioned he's the third option on this team. You know, he's coming off of a 37 spot against a pretty fast-paced Xavier team the last time out. We mentioned that the Providence side is the one that's getting paced up here. So, you know, this game environment could lend itself to, you know, a little bit more production for him. You know, you would think that opposing teams are really just going to make it a point to take the ball away from Devin Carter, and they're stepping up would be Jaden Pierre to, you know, really answer that call. So I don't mind it in a vacuum. The pricing isn't exactly where we want it to be, but more than anything else, I think he's just kind of a sneaky contrarian play. Like if you want to, you know, pivot off of Carter outright and save a good amount of money doing it, you can make a case for Pierre. Or if you want to stack him up with Adoro, right? Like you're creating the leverage going from Carter to Adoro, and then pairing him up with Pierre, who's got a 20% assist rate, right? Like Marquette is 329, 330th in opponent assist rate. So you get a little bit of the bump to the dimes there. I think that Pierre's kind of got a role to play if you're trying to be a little bit sneaky in how you approach the Providence side.
A sneaky contrarian play coming from Mr. Contrarian there. So
Mr.
I mean,
Contrarian.
it might be worth a couple of looks there for Jaden Pierre. Marty in the chat agreeing with you as well. Hey, listen, Shaka Smart jokes aside, this is a good basketball team in Marquette here that is on the other side here. 9 to 10 guys checking in, 3 guys playing 30 minutes. I'm gonna switch it up a little bit here and go right back to Eric on this one to talk about Marquette. Going to give Mike a break from having to think about Shaka Smart for a second, and going to go straight to Eric.
See, I think it's the other way. We're going to give Mike a break to long for Shaka Smart and the glory days when he was wearing the burnt orange. As I talk about this Marquette team, this Marquette team facing off against Providence. Providence is 6th in defense in the Big East, kind of right there in the middle of the pack. And there's no real other kind of statistical advantages of note to really reference here, right? So we can kind of dive right into this Marquette side. Again, they're playing 9 to 10 guys. But, you know, their big 3 are deep into 30-plus minutes every single night. That starts with the price king for the Marquette side, Tyler Kolek, coming in at 8.7K. I mean, many are saying I would totally co-sign on this. Best point guard in the country. Had that big game against them the first time, even though they only scored 57 points, right? So, like, you expect him to be be able to put up even better numbers with a 76-point implied team total. So all of the rates are exactly what you're looking for. He's shooting 40% from downtown. Like there's kind of like you were talking about with Carter earlier. Like you don't really have to stretch to make a case for Tyler Kolek. He is a fine play in his own regard. And then, similar setup to the Providence side, save a couple $100. You can consider Oso Ighodaro here at 8.1K. I mean, he's just been playing so well before that last game, at least coming off a 24 spot, but before that 44, 32, 40, right? Like his rates are fantastic across the board. You love the 25% rebound rate, 16% assist rate for a forward is beautiful. He chips, he dips, 5% block rate, 2% steal rate. Like, the price tags are close enough between him and Kolek to where I think it probably depresses Ighodaro's ownership a little bit. I don't think he's going to be all that popular an option. So, you can create a little leverage in your tournaments by going the Oso route over Tyler Kolek. So, Mike, I did the hard thing of taking the two arguably best and most consistent players from the Marquette side. Where else are you looking for the Golden Eagles?
Let's talk about the Cam Jones experiment, right?
Cammy
Cam.
Cam.
We were saying, like, what the hell are we doing? Yeah, you're 60 mid-sixes. We're like, what the hell is going to happen? Now he's 7,300, so a lot has happened in the last couple of games.
Look at us.
Yes. Guess why? Because it's DePaul and Xavier, like two teams that can't stop any wings. So Cam Jones went absolutely bonkers against both teams, a 45 and a 46 piece. I mean, I don't know that I'm going to pay 7,300 for Cam Jones on this slate and this matchup. I would rather stick to Kolek and Iguodaro. Same with like all these guys, because they just played Xavier and DePaul, they're all getting the pricing. Like, you know, David Joplin's at 5,800. You like him more when he's at the 55, 5,400. Now you have to pay a little bit more to get to him. He's doing a little bit more than what he was last year. Obviously being the sixth man and Omax Prosper being there, but still just behind these three guys. And it's just so tough when Tyler Kolek has the ball in his hands like 80% of the time in this offense. And if you're not the one he's finding, if he's not finding Cam Jones for threes, he's finding David Joplin for threes. If he's not finding David Joplin for threes, he's finding Stevie Mitchell. So for me, it's like I'd rather just click the button on Tyler Kolek, maybe sprinkle a little bit of OSO in some of these large field tournaments. But for the most part, like I'm pretty much just crossing off a lot of this Marquette side, even though Cam Jones could be super contrarian in a large field setting for sure. So man, like this game, we have it on the rundown because there aren't a lot of guys that are hitting the floor, but there are a lot of guys playing a ton of minutes. And I just think that I'm really looking at maybe one-offing each side, honestly. I do like the call earlier of maybe pairing a Pierre with Oduro, but on this Marquette side, it's like pick your guy, and it's one of the two guys at the top for me.
Yeah.
Flip a coin, go back and forth on those two if you need to save a little bit of money. But Kolek is just the 60 is always within grasp, for this guy. So plus you're gonna, when you're sitting down sweating this stuff, you're actually gonna enjoy watching Tyler Kolek play. So do with that information as you wish. Before we move on to St. John's and Butler, and after everybody hits like and subscribe, showing your broski some love here, are we just gonna go ahead and ignore what I'm scrolling back up here a little bit because Mama Rock saying earlier that Kemba Walker scored 92 real points in a game
He's
in
a bucket.
in the Euro League. Cardiac Kemba. I mean, it is almost March here, so I feel like I had to make sure we talked about Kemba when we got a Kemba mention in the old comments there. No doubt about it. Kemba's the man. We love Kemba. We've always loved Kemba. Ryan, has Cal ever been good at anything? I don't know, but
a double 15 in the Big Jam, boys. A double 15. So almost got there. How these pay structures are crazy.
Double 15. Oh, I got you. All right.
215 place finishes. Tied for 15 2 times. Good times.
There we go.
See if we get first tomorrow.
Hey, that's what we're here for. And make sure you hop in that live chat. If you're hanging out with us live, hit subscribe for us if you haven't. As we move on to St. John's and Butler, a St. John's team that is playing, that played a little bit better after Patino told them they all sucked.
You suck again.
You suck. None of you are any good at basketball or life. You all stink. Anybody that ever coached you stinks. Okay, well, they played a little bit better, and they are 1-point dogs against Butler here at Butler, a 153-point implied total. St. John's did win the first matchup by 16, 86-70. Jenkins had 17, 5, and 7, and Soriano, our guy, the one guy that's still there from last year, literally, Soriano had 14 and 12, which is not a shock to anybody that's been paying attention to college basketball for the last few years. Davis had 25. Alexander had 11, 4, and 6 in the first one. So, St. John's playing 10 guys, but kind of keeps us away, I guess, because it's kind of a headache. But 4 starters in the last game played 30-plus, so you kind of like maybe towards the end of the season where this is heading and you see the success that they had with
3 games left.
maybe a coach with the, ability that theirs does, see something works and might stick with it. But can we depend on that?
I mean, I want to depend on it. My bankroll is going to depend on it tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, this is like the first game that we saw 4 guys, really 5 guys, because Dingle got 25 minutes. So all 5 starters played 25-plus minutes. 4 of them got into the 30s. There's not this Soriano thing going on anymore. I think it's crunch time, and now you just play your best 5 players, right? I don't know why this didn't happen like 6-7 games ago, but I'm not going to challenge Rick Pitino. He can challenge his players, though. But Butler 9th in defensive efficiency in the Big East. They're 9th in opponent 2-point percentage in the Big East. They're 9th in the opponent shot block, so a lot of stocks to go around. 8th in opponent steal rate. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of fantasy points going around for the St. John's team, and if it's consolidated between 5 guys, I'm going to absolutely love that. Butler 236th in opponent assist rate. This makes me love Dennis Jenkins because he's actually been the one safe guy throughout this entire year, and now if he's got some of the same guys around him the entire game, maybe there's a little more familiarity with what the hell is going on. So Dennis Jenkins at 8K, definitely a solid play for sure, putting up the 45 last game, has been 40 plus in 3 of the last 5 games. So you just love the spot because Butler is just a fantasy haven. Like you just plug and play multiple guys in this spot. So I'm looking at targeting two St. John's guys. Joel Soriano is going to be really hard not to click the button. 34, 33, 37 in the last 3. Minutes have been secured, and like this is a spot for him to absolutely smash. Butler, like we said, getting beat up on the inside. He's also got a shot block rate that's 6%, which is going to bode well. Butler gets a lot of their shots blocked. So Soriano at 7,200 was getting us in trouble. I feel like this is pretty safe and has a lot of upside. So looking at Joel Soriano a ton at 7,200. And then of the other 5 starters, the one that is the one that I'm going to get absolutely just toasted by is going to be the Oregon State transfer who we really liked, was in the top 150 of my transfer board this offseason. Glenn Taylor sitting there at 4K. He would start, he would play like 7 or 8 minutes, and then he would just go to the bench. Well, he actually started, played 32 minutes, still shot 1 of 5, which I'm fine. If he's at 4K, if he's going to play 32 minutes, I don't care how many shots he's going to take. He racked up 10 rebounds, 6 assists, a block, and a steal. He's actually a decent offensive player. So yeah, I'm going to get 32 minutes out of a guy playing, at 4K. That I'm in love with it, but this could all go completely sideways here. So I just think that for me, like Jenkins is a great play, Soriano's a great play, Glenn Taylor is an awesome play for value. You've also got Ledlum over there, you've got Dingle over there, Eric. Between those 2 men, which one are you riding with? And do you feel like one of those 2 would be your top overall play in this game on this side?
Oh man, between those 2, I guess I would go with Ledlum. Formerly the cover boy of our Can't Quit You team. Been a bit of a roller coaster season for him, as it has been for a lot of the Red Storm players. The thing that he's got working in his favor, he's starting to play some minutes here lately. 34, 32, 29, he had a 23 in there, but 30 the game before that, 31, right? Like if we're going to see these types of minutes sustain, I think we can feel pretty good about Chris Ledlum because he gets it done in so many ways, right? Like his usage is shot rate are right around 20%, 26% rebound rate, 11% assists, 4% block, 3% steal, taking 62 attempts from 3. Like he can just stuff the stat sheet. And with the flexibility that you're getting with him, obviously it's a lot of different ways that you can bake that into your overall build. But yeah, I mean it doesn't feel great to say we're banking on any of these guys for St. John's being able to project their past minutes into future games, but I mean we've got a pretty decent sample size of Chris Ledlum getting some run and the way that he can contribute. Like you have to feel pretty good about him.
We're gonna get torched.
Yeah, we're setting ourselves up to get hurt, but whatever. I'm here for it.
Hey, what do you think? A nice Ledlum Taylor stack here if you really want to sweat a little bit.
Dude, I'm going Ledlum, Taylor, and freaking Jenkins, dude. I'm going Ledlum, Soriano, and Taylor. I'm going off, dude. I might get 4 of these dudes in and just really feel the pain when they combine for 87 minutes.
Maybe, if you're lucky.
God.
If you are lucky. We're lucky to talk about Butler now, the 8-man rotation over there for Butler. 4 starters playing heavy minutes, though, Mike.
Yeah, man, like this Butler side's been pretty nice to play against. The run backs have been so annoying to figure out who to run back. I've really been running back Posh Alexander, but we'll start with Jamal Telfort because he's the price king on this side here. He's 7,300. Like, he just plays a pile of minutes. I mean, he does enough, but he's more suited for like cash. I mean, I don't know. It just doesn't get me excited for tournaments to play this guy. Even though, 29, 35. That 13's in there against Creighton. That was don't worry about that game. 33 and a 29 there. So, I mean, just right at the 4X spots. I think if you're like playing cash and double ups, like the guy just plays a pile of minutes. He takes enough shots. He does enough rebounding and assisting. He shoots threes. Like, he's just good for cash, but I'm not clicking his name for a tournament, especially when I'm paying, 7,200 for Soriano, 8K for Jenkins, who I'm going to have a ton of. I know I'm getting the 4K savings with Taylor, but I want to go up and get some of these other guys that are in our tier section in the high tier. So for me, Jamal Telfort, like, if you want to be safe in a double up or something, like, you go ahead and play him. Posh Alexander, you want some tournament upside? He's our guy. He's 6,600. We have just been play him in tournaments. Like, he's either going to burn you or you're going to be up in the top 100 in the big jam or the pull-up jumper or whatever the hell it is that we're playing. So with all of his rates, like, that just lends to it. Now, he didn't play down the stretch the other day, which was a little concerning. They actually landed more out there, which I was like, why is this happening? But he's not a great shooter, and he was turning the ball over a little bit. I fully expect him to be out there on the floor. I don't know if you're trying to win, get into the tournament while you're not playing Posh Alexander max minutes, but I digress from that. So at 6,600, I'm willing to take a shot at Posh Alexander. Pierre Brooks and DJ Davis are just so shot dependent. I'm not going to play Pierre Brooks at 6,100 when DJ Davis is sitting there at 6,100. I would much rather take DJ Davis, who has 30 to 35 fantasy point upside here. Just a guy that shoots a ton of threes. We loved him at UC Irvine last year. 23% shot rate, can hand out some assists and get some steals here, but really going to be bombing away from the three. So I definitely find DJ Davis very, very interesting. He's probably going to be 5 or 6% owned, maybe less than that because Posh is $500 more. I'm looking at him as a run back option. Picking these run back options, Eric, is I don't know who's going to have the 4.5 to 5X game from, and sometimes it just doesn't even happen. But it feels like this game environment, and it's a hammer type game. Like, sign me up, especially with some of these totals that are we got half the slate is under 140. It feels like so. Like 5 games are under 140. So what are your thoughts on this Butler squad, man?
Yeah, definitely want to get into this game environment, and I tend to agree. Like, just keep it as simple as possible. I feel like Posh is the right answer more often than not. Is probably the best way to put it. But it has been a bit of a head scratcher. The other guy to consider here, I mean, we can talk a little bit about Jalen Thomas, right? Like, he's been playing a bit better of late, right? Like, getting into those mid to high 20s here in his recent game logs. The thing that you like most in that last game, got the 30 minutes. Like, that's absolutely the marker that we're looking for. And I think we might be able to project him, his playing time right around there again, because he's going to have to be out there to deal with Soriano, right? Like, they had him out there a fair amount in that first game. Obviously, got him in a little bit of foul trouble. So, we hope that he can stay out there. But the way this game script unfolds, they're going to need a body out there to deal with Soriano. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Thomas get a ton of minutes in this one. And I like him as a stacking partner, right? Like, you pair him up with Posh at 6.6K, and you're under 12K for a pretty handsome run back on this Butler side. And you're getting pretty solid upside for tournaments. I guess you could do it with Davis too, but I mean, but between Posh and Davis, I'd rather spend the $500. I would imagine most people are going to have a similar assessment. So pairing Thomas and Davis up is a ultra contrarian way to get into the Butler side. But yeah, I think Thomas has a role to play in this game, right?
Posh, Thomas at 12.1 for both of them. It just feels too good to be true. Almost like it feels trappy to me. Like, I don't know.
They're at home too, like, and they're on the bubble. They need this win too.
You gotta have it. They've got it. It's a trap. They've got to have it.
Just running 6 guys out from this game, dude. Let's go. I'm actually just make it right now.
I love it.
All from this one game.
I love it. We're going to get the
God.
tiers in a second, but the live chat's been going off again. Wits asking Mike about why did you go with the double lineup? Did you love the build? What was going on with that?
Yeah, I think Eric does. I think you do this too, Eric. I'm not sure. Maybe not. We've talked about it a little bit, but I usually make when I play, 15 to 20 lineups, I typically make 6 to 7 lineups, and then I just I play a duplicate of those lineups. And then when it comes time to make pivots or, when I get one that's really on fire, I'm just like, you know what, I'm going to leave that alone. So that's why sometimes I've, doubled up a 7th place. I've doubled up a 15. I've doubled up a 20. It's because I'm just not going to touch it. There's not really anything that's like intriguing to me that I can really get to, especially on the slates when, you have a lot going in the first game. There's not as many options to pivot to that make sense on the backside of the slate. So yeah, that's typically what I do. I used to go try to hand build like 15 lineups. Eric, you remember this like 2 years ago, just like trying to hand build lineups, and it takes like an hour, and then you don't know what the hell you have across the board. So it just makes more sense to make duplicate lineups of the ones that you like if you're mass multi-entering. And then, when it comes down to it, you just look at both lineups and you say, hey, well, I would rather do this than this. And it covers your outs, I guess. Gives you maybe more upside, or you could be contrarian on one when one of your guys, gets a snowflake, and maybe just take shots on someone like David Jones, Eric. You remember that.
Pride of Memphis, David Jones.
It makes sense. It makes sense. And so I actually saw someone make a case today on Twitter against the late swaps in general.
Yeah, people in the NBA hate it.
Well, yeah, and Ryan saying that right there in the comments. NBA has a no late swap Friday.
I only play NBA's on Wednesdays.
But no, I think, because I've talked to you about that too, I do like to pick and sit a lot of the time, and you're much more active mid slate. And depending on it sounds like tonight you sat pat with this particular lineup, but otherwise you might take some shots at it. So it's just a way to get different, and a way to, if you're desperate, and you might make a more desperate play with what you have there remaining, or split them on the exactly. So to hedge a little bit there. So
yeah, exactly.
Good stuff. And Forklift Jeremy, of course, checking in. Would not be a show without our guy Forklift Jeremy. Dropping the fire emojis in, been listening to the show and sweating out some PrizePicks slips. Appreciate the fact.
Did he win that one that we gave out last night, Jeremy?
Were you on the ones?
If he was tailing, he did.
Dessou and Harris, man.
Harris and Dessou, cha-ching, cha-ching. And we hit that Dessou, and live on the air, we were sweating that hook. But of course, Mike knew it was good all along. Just cool as a cucumber. He was trying to tell us, and he just has a lot more faith in Rodney Terry than I do. But that's neither here nor there. Let's get over to the old. We had this the last time. It's the tiers for fears, except there are no fears in these tiers, because everybody wants to
back to back.
The world. Eric, starting with you tonight, sir. In the tiers, we're just doing plays tonight, okay? Follow the rules, by the way. Only doing plays tonight, and we're starting in the high tier as we normally do. Eric, go ahead with your high tier play.
So I get to do the fun thing where I talk about Janai Broome playing like 30 minutes a game, right? This is exactly what we've been hoping for forever and ever. And when he's out there that often, it puts his upside legitimately in the 50-plus range, right? So, like, I don't think that there are going to be a whole lot of people that are playing Broome because, the game will be tight. It's going to be a must-win for both teams that are vying for an SEC title. So, yeah, getting a guy with 50-plus point upside in the probably like low to mid single digits in terms of ownership is exactly what I'm looking for on these large slates. Mike, where are you looking at up here in the old top tier?
Yeah, searching through this top tier, sifting through, I should say. I'll go with Jameer Young. Just Mr. Consistent, right? He's 8,400. They're at home. They're playing Northwestern. Like, even when he doesn't shoot the ball well, he still scores 32 fantasy points. And he just I'm surprised he only took 9 attempts, but he took 10 free throws. I mean, the guy's taken 421 field goals on the year. Like, that's pretty insane. So, He hasn't been under 28 in a while. Like, I feel like if you're playing cash, like Jameer Young's kind of one of the first spots that you go to. Going to play 38, 39, 40 minutes, just high usage, high shot rate, high assist rate, can pick off some steals here. So definitely like Jameer Young for cash, or I'm going to float him out there in a tournament lineup on at least one, just because he has 45 to 50 fantasy point upside, and those are the guys that you want to try to unlock, even though the chances of that may happen are maybe 10%. So Jameer Young for me. Jay, you're usually going first, man, but now you're down here at the bottom rounding us out. What you got?
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. 40 to 50 point upside, you say?
Yeah.
Is that what you're looking for? I got a guy for you. I got a guy. His name is Dalton Connect. If you're not watching Tyler Kolek, no. If you're not watching Tyler Kolek play, this is both games are on at the same time tomorrow night. I shouldn't say that. We're Wednesday night, right? we're doing this live on a Tuesday. It's almost Wednesday on the East Coast, but on this Wednesday slate, both of these games, the Marquette and Tennessee games, are on at the same time. So flip back and forth if you can and watch these fantastic guards. But I'm going to go with Connect here, 8.5K, lottery pick. I'm not buying that he's making it to 15 like the mock draft had him at. This guy's a lottery pick for me. 40 to 50 point upside every time out. So Connect there in the high tier. The mid tier. Right back to Eric to start. I'm liking switching this up a little bit. Let's go right back to Eric to start us off here in the mid tier.
I like getting to go first too. It's my turn. My mid tier play is Tamar Bates, the guard out of Missouri, 6.5K. He's in a matchup against Florida. First time out, he went and gifted us a 40 burger. So certainly we'll take that in the mid 6K range. Don't love the spread of this game necessarily. This one, is one that we might have to worry about a bit of a blow up, but the pace is fantastic, which is often the case with really both of these teams, right? So, I think this sets up for him, or maybe for East, even though I'm only giving one play, to potentially have a nice game. So of the two, I'll officially say Tamar Bates, but don't mind swapping him out for East as well, because we can't follow any rules around here. I'll hand it to the chief rule breaker, Mr. Mike Holland. Who are you looking at in the mid-tier?
Yeah, I'll look at Will Richard here, because there is no more Riley. Well, I shouldn't say that because he's there, but the minutes are gone.
But he's gone.
And we're doing this Will Richard. We're doing this Will Richard thing again. Like, here we go. We're playing 30 minutes again. We're shooting a bunch of threes. We're 5,900 against Missouri at home, doing some rebounding. Like, I can't believe this is going to happen again. We're going to go through this mess again, but he's flashing 30 to 35 fantasy point upside when he's playing, 30 plus minutes, and there's no Kugel in these type of game environments. So, yeah, honestly, Florida with this massive implied total, like Eric just mentioned, he did his Bates and East thing. Like, if you wanted to play like a Condon or a Hanlockton big, I wouldn't mind that either in the mid tier. But Richard is really kind of the guy that I want to pick here, Jay. So I don't think we technically broke any rules. What say you in this mid?
Well, I mean, just don't act like you wouldn't. Okay, like, let's be really clear. You are the chief rule breaker and bottle washer in these parts. So, y'all hung around the mid to lower end of the mid tier. I'm gonna be on the higher end here at 7.2K with Javon Small. Fancy. Nothing small about the fantasy totals in the last four: 36, 29, 29, and 32. Makes for a really solid cash play. I'm okay with playing him in tournaments too, but really like him in a cash setting. Leads Oklahoma State in usage and assist rate. So Javon Small at 7.2K for me for those cowpokes out there in Stillwater against UCF. I'll take Small there in the mid-tier. Moving to the low tier. One more tier before the Core Four. It's the low tier. And there is going, depending on if you do go stars and scrubs, we're going to need to be able to find some value. So, Eric, where should we start?
We should start. I'll go full circle here. I started with Auburn. I will circle back around to Aiden Holloway for Auburn, talented freshman. He finally got his starting spot back in that last game. Played a hefty pile of minutes, 28 in that last one, which is pretty close to a season high for him, right? So he's a great shooter. You like all of his rates across the board, like that he's handing out 23% assist rate. So a lot of things to like if this kid's going to be on the floor. The game environment, it should be fun. It's not really a high total, but at 4.2K, a guy that's pushing 30 minutes and has a lot of different ways to get there. A lot of things to like about Aiden Holloway in this one. Mike, keep the train moving here. Where are you saving a little bit of money?
All right, we gotta take a moment here. So we gotta talk about Duke. We haven't talked about Duke. We're gonna talk about Caleb Foster here at 4,700 against Louisville. I mentioned at the top, right? Filipowski has a lot to do with this. If he's in, I still like some of these guys down here at the bottom, like Caleb Foster at 4,700. If Filipowski's out, he's going to slot in and he's just going to play 30 minutes. They're going to score 90 points against Louisville. There's going to be a ton of fantasy goodness. So guys like Roach, Proctor, especially if Filipowski sits, Mark Mitchell becomes a nice play. I know we're talking low tier here. Mark Mitchell's 6,800 though. So like all these Duke guys, if Filipowski is out, we have to play some. Even if he's not out, you probably have to play someone from Duke. Like you just have to, because Louisville just gives up so many fantasy points. I love Caleb Foster to save salary. Like, give me Caleb Foster, give me a Glenn Taylor, and at the guard forward, let me fill out my rest of my 6 spots here. Give me my combined 50 fantasy points, which is probably not going to happen from at least the Taylor side. But Caleb Foster at 4,700, regardless if Filipowski's out, I still like it. If Filipowski's out, you can just ratchet up like 5-6 guys on the Duke side that you could play for sure. Jay, what you got, man?
John Michael Wright, going back to the
Is that the president?
Going back to the Oklahoma. Yeah, exactly. Going back to the Oklahoma State well here, 5K flat, no need to worry because my accountant handles that. There are not a lot of guys playing 36 minutes that cost 5K. All right.
Yeah, that's good.
What's the downside here, though? Shot dependent, right? Are his rates the best? I mean, yeah. Just under averaging like just under 4x at this price over the last 7 games. So again, it's somebody to consider just for the fact it's the all card has pulse, will be on the court. Definitely mass multi. Get some shares of Wright and just mix them in with some of your pillars that we're going to give you here for the core 4 and more. So John Michael Wright there for Oklahoma State, Caleb Foster for Duke, especially if Filipowski's out, but even if he's not, and then Aiden Holloway for Auburn at 4.2. So nice value there. Ladies and gents, Ryan is a simple man just knowing he's going to play guys against Mizzou. So Will Richard sounds like he's going to be on a lot of Ryan stuff. And Ryan also saying that Connect is that guy. Yeah, he's that guy. He is that guy,
pal. I'm not that guy.
Hey, he is that guy. Connect is that guy for sure. And Mike is the guy to start off the core 4 and more core. The core 4 and more, of course, will bring you the cash and the tournament cores. We're doing the cash game first here, Mike. Can't wait to see how little you leave us at the end of this one. But who are the pillars of your cash core plays?
Yeah, so I've been really taking it to heart that, I'm just having trouble leaving everybody with 5,100, 5,200. Like, it feels really bad. So you know what? I'm gonna gamble here. I'm gonna put Aiden Holloway in the cash core here. The trends. I'm loving the trends. So 28 minutes in the last game. If he still plays 25 minutes, 4,200 at Tennessee, I still like it. It feels a lot safer than some of these other value plays. But who knows with Bruce Pearl, right? So I'll put Aiden Holloway in the core for sure. Also got Jameer Young in there, 8,400. Like, you just lock in your 30 to 35 fantasy points with upside in tournaments. But for cash, like, he's just not going to get at least 29 fantasy points. So you definitely love his floor. Tamar Bates at 6,500. Like, he's just playing a pile of minutes. He already went off for 38.5 against this Florida side. it is on the road. It's kind of annoying, but even when these guys get beat up and blown out, they're still playing their big two, which is Tamar Bates and Eric mentioned it earlier, Sean East. So Tamar Bates at 6,500 in the cash core. And then Joel Soriano, now that he's playing 30 minutes a game over the last 3, now that they're really trying to make this huge push at 7,200. This is a smash spot DVP against Butler as well. Definitely love me some Joel Soriano. So 59.25. How's that, Jay, for saving some coin here? And then obviously we got to watch for the Filipowski news, because then guys like I would just slot Mark Mitchell in as a cash play. Might even slot him in as a 5th play here. So definitely loving these guys at Filipowski's out even more. What do you think about almost 6K, Brad?
This is what a good conductor does. He pushes everybody around him to be better. And you, sir, are much better. 59.25 per player. Who are you? Who even are you? I don't even know who you are anymore. Honestly, I'm
not that guy.
You're not that guy. Hey, you're not that guy. All right, time for the tournament core for Mr. Eric. You know, there's I have a feeling I'm really going to like what you have to say here on your core. At least I hope I do. Who's your core for the tournament play?
I wholeheartedly appreciate your vote of confidence, and I do not plan to disappoint. I think we got a pretty solid one here. It helps when the building blocks of our core 4 are lottery picks like Tyler Kolek and Dalton Connect, right?
Let's go.
So we'll get both those guys in here. Don't mind getting these guys in here for like 17K, right? Like obviously fairly expensive pieces, but guys that we feel comfortable at even higher price tags than what they're carrying on this slate. So we'll pair those two up. We'll play the trends here. Will Richard 5.9K seems like Riley Kugel has so gracefully stepped out of the way. That has been to the benefit of Will Richard. And then Glenn Taylor, the most recent sample size of one game, getting in there, getting all those minutes, absolutely delivering from a fantasy standpoint, still sitting at 4K flat. So you do have a fair amount of flexibility in terms of available salary by getting him in there. Leaves you with 57.25 per player, but you have upside with this core 4 in spades.
I don't know if Kolek's mama thinks he's a lottery pick, but you know.
Lottery pick in Eric's heart, man.
He's a lottery pick in my heart, for sure. The most electrifying man in college basketball and entertainment, Tyler Kolek. Believe that. And I believe in the live chat tonight with Mama Rocks, Ryan, Myron, Forklift Jeremy, Marty, and Wits all hopping in there, keeping it on fire all night long. We appreciate that. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us this evening. Gonna go first tonight to Mike for the old captain's comments to close out the show, as we will.
Yeah, we didn't talk about South Carolina, Texas A&M. That's gonna be an absolute dogfight. I don't know that you even want to go anywhere in that game, which is why we didn't mention it. Oklahoma +7 at Iowa State. That is not going to be a fun game to watch. That is going to be an absolute slugfest. So pretty much 2 games. For me, it's like an 8-game slate. It's an 8-game slate. You mix in some of this value. You know, we talked about, Taylor and Holloway being in our core pieces here, but you got guys like, Luke O'Brien that you can stick in there. You can get a little not I don't say different, but John Michael Wright's there, Caleb Foster for Duke. Some of these Duke pieces, especially if Filipowski's out, like Sean Stewart, becomes interesting at like a sub 4K play. So yeah, I just think that we're kind of running an 8-game slate here, and I definitely like the St. John's Butler game, and it's usually the first game of the slate and the first one that you put on, and then you're pissed off. So now I'm just gonna be pissed off later in the night, which is not good, but. This is what it is, man. So I'm ready to do it again, make this run for first place in one of these tourneys.
This is the life we live, and you know it. Eric, close out this show with some fine thoughts, as you are wont to do.
I might be wont to do, but I will not do tonight because I think Mike really summed it up perfectly, right? Like we're really looking at 8 games on the board to choose from. Don't go to sleep angry, y'all. All right. If St. John's breaks your heart, make sure you at least shoot Rick Pitino a little text that you still love him and you support him no matter what. Because you can't bring that animosity to bed with you. Not speaking about the slate, we were hoping that PrizePicks might put a couple of options on the board before the stream is over. They did not oblige. So make sure that you are subscribed here. Make sure you have those notification bells on. Make sure you're following us on Twitter because we might try to push out a little bit of content, a couple of PrizePicks whenever we can see the board tomorrow.
No doubt about it. Always be tuned into what we're doing. Hit those like and subscribe buttons, notification bells. Like us on TikTok at Get Green Screens. Like us on Twitter at Get Green Screens for the Green Screens media page, and at One and Done CBB. That's the one you really want to follow for sure. Catching all of our college basketball coverage, everything that we put out. You saw your boy on Twitter the other day dropping out picks in the morning out here, bright and early within the morning dew hasn't even settled in yet, and I'm out here recording, dropping picks for y'all. That's what we're doing. We're doing it for y'all. We're bringing the heat as we always do. Follow us all on Twitter. Follow our guy at The Real Napier, who's putting in work at his other gimmick, but we always appreciate everything he does for One and Done and in the Green Screens Media universe. Do your part in the Green Screens Media universe by telling the hoopheads in your life about your broskies in basketball, your favorite 3-man weave in the game. Do your part. Also, tell somebody you love them. Take care of yourself, though, and always make time. Always make time to get this bread.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drrodo.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.